pickup location import page is probably one of the most useful pages within the LoadCall directory, because more than any other type of item in the directory, there's going to be a lot of different pickup locations typically, and they're kind of sometimes a pain to enter. So luckily, you can format a import file in a Excel document and upload it in here pretty easily. So we're going to go ahead and do that by clicking on Create Import Session. And within here, after I click Create, we have the option to select a CSV file or download an import template. So with downloading an import template, if I do that, it's going to give us all of the headers or the properties. So I've gone ahead and downloaded it, where each column is one of the import properties, and then each row is going to be some of the information that we're going to import. And you'll notice that with pickup locations, because there can be multiple different tanks on site, they look a little bit different in that we are going to sometimes have the same location on multiple lines. And so you can see I've got import location 1 here on lines 2 through 6, and we have some of the repeated information here. So some of the required fields were federal lease number and property number, which I kind of put in some test data, county and state, and latitude, longitude, and producer. You can see all of these properties. It's the exact same on every row. But once we get over here into the doc section, you'll see it's a little bit different. So the first doc I have is tank 1, which is a tank that's generic. Now these fields right here, tank type and doc strapping, if we jump back over to here, you can see that the doc type and the doc strapping type, these are required formatted fields. So you need to type in exactly tank, meter, site generic for doc type, or generic and incremental for strapping type. So you can see that I did that right here. I've got generic tank and incremental tank. And for these first two, tank 1 and tank 2, you can see over here that I have my generic barrels per inch is 1.6667. Now, this third tank is an incremental tank, which means that I have to put in the incremental strapping for each of these rows. So I've got from 0 to 48 inches here to strapping, from 48 to 96, and 96 to 180. So you can see right here, I've got a incrementally strapped tank set up right here so that we can have that imported properly. So if I download this file, make sure that you download it as a CSV file, and come back over here and select CSV file, I can go ahead and import in, and you'll notice that it's looks pretty much the same right here. It may reorder things a little bit. You can see that it's gone from 0 to 48, 48 to 96. You know, this is kind of all over the place, but it'll be okay after we import it. So I'm going to go ahead and lock my mapping. And because this one did have an association with a producer, I typed in this import test. If we go back and look at this file over here, for the producer, I put import test, which is not a valid field. I don't have any producers called import test. So what I have to do is come in here and select which one import test was. Now this is nice because if I type, if my field I put in, Renmark Refining LLC or something like that, and it's not an exact match, it's easy to come in and quickly figure out which association this is kind of tied to. This is especially useful when importing routes later. But let's go ahead and click Build Subassociations, which there aren't any in this case, so we can skip to this page. And we have our summary right here that we've imported it. And you'll notice we went from like 5 or 6 lines down to 1 because they all had the same name. So this location just has all of those different tanks on it. So let's upload our pickup. You can see that it's successfully imported. And if I go back out and find our import location, look at 1, and we view that import location, you'll see that we have our 3 different tanks here. So tank 1 that's a generic 1.6, tank 2 with a generic 1.6 also, and then tank 3 with this incremental strapping. So the importer pretty much can handle whatever you can throw at it. We'll go ahead and in the next segment show how to do some of the field replacements with the importer. In addition to uploading completely new locations into LoadCall, LoadCall also supports the ability to upload replacement fields and kind of overwrite or edit bulk locations from a CSV file. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new upload replacement fields session right here. And what this will do, it'll look kind of the same as the other import page, but the import template is going to look a little bit different. If we come into here, you'll notice that it doesn't have any of the tank information or dock information over here at the end. That is not supported with these replacement imports. Instead, these are useful for updating bulk GPS locations or property numbers or things like that. So within this file, it'll tell you which ones are required. Typically, it's just the name in this case. So this required import location 1 name is so that we can map this location that we're importing with something that's already existing in the database. So this needs to be an identical match here. So we previously did import location 1, and we're going to change the federal lease number to this kind of long bunch of text right here so you can see that it works. So back over here in LoadCall, I'm going to go ahead and select the import replacement file that we've created. And in here, you'll notice we've got import location 1 and then this new federal lease number, and everything is already auto-mapped. So we're going to go ahead and lock the mapping. We don't have any associations or sub-associations to build, so it's pretty straightforward. And we're going to go ahead and replace this field. So it's imported successfully. And if we go back out and find import location 1 and go ahead and view it, you'll notice, or you can already see it right there, but the federal lease number has been updated to this big long text right here. So super useful if a bunch of property numbers change, or if you get more correct latitudes and longitudes or any other information, or want to put an alert on there or something like that. It makes it a lot easier to come in here and quickly update these locations. Once again, though, you are not able to update tank information with this method, since it would be too tricky to go ahead and make sure that all of the identifiers line up within the database so we don't create duplicates. In the future, we may be able to go back and get that to work, but as it stands right now, just an easy way to go ahead and update basic information on your locations that already exist within LoadCall.